So today we're going to talk about everything related to music and lessons for your children. What age do you start your child in music lessons? What's the best instrument to start your child in? How much time do I need to commit to in as far as practice? And what if my child doesn't like practicing? That's kind of important as a parent to know how to coach them through that process. So hopefully I'll answer all your questions today. Learn that every child is different. Everybody has a different learning style, a different personality, maybe a different attention span. But as a general rule, in my past experiences, I feel like whenever your child is able to read fluently, that's a really good age to start. Either a girl or a boy. Typically, boys are a little bit more energetic and they want to burn that energy too. So you might have to work with that just a little bit. But as a general rule, start your child around that 5 or 6 year mark. For me, I was even a little older. I was 7 when I started piano, and it worked out great for me as well. I have started teaching some people earlier than that, but I found out that they don't learn quite as fast, and it works a lot better. They actually grip onto it a lot easier if they can actually read and be able to understand and communicate through that a lot more. So I would start around there. This is a great question because a lot of times your child might actually have an interest in a different instrument, whether it's the violin, the guitar, brass. But I feel like as a general rule, the piano is a great instrument to start with because you learn both clefs at the same time. You learn all of your notes, your time signatures. You're able to read music very well and switch to any instrument from the piano. So even if your child had a desire in another instrument, I would probably start them with the piano because it's such a great instrument to have that foundation learning experience with. So I would at least say do piano lessons for 2 years, commit to that, and then branch off to another instrument if you'd like, or you could continue doing that as well. That worked for me, and most of my students actually picked up another instrument as well in the past because I guess I started teaching when I was 16 years old, and I absolutely loved it. It was the highlight of my week every week. And over the years, I've taught well over 100 children, and it's just been such a joy to see them grow and learn and, just create more music and just be passionate about what I love as well. So I hope that answers your question. I would say from that 5-year-old to 6-year-old, maybe even 7-year-old mark, they have a small, short attention span, and you want it to be something fun, something enjoyable. So as a parent, I think you really should be able to be there with your child, be able to read things to them, even if you're not really musical at all. Just being there for support, helping read things to them or listen to them, encourage them through that. That's such a huge part of music, and them feeling like you are their biggest fan. That's a great feeling as a child, knowing that their parent is proud of them in that and kind of coaching them along in that. So I think maybe keep the practice times to around 15 minutes in that 5-year-old to 7-year-old mark, and try to do 5 minutes of flashcards, whether your flashcards are notes, different time signatures, different notes that they're learning. I feel like try to keep your flashcards fun and exciting as a parent, just being able to flip through them or lay them on the ground, come up with different games. And those are pretty easy to find when you look up them on Google and stuff. But as far as actually practicing what they're supposed to on the piano, as far as their lesson is concerned, set a timer for 15 minutes. It's about all they can handle at that age. If you even sometimes I even would have to break that up with different students just because they were like only able to sit for a small period of time. And then once they hit maybe that 7-year to 9-year mark, I'm gonna say practice 20 minutes and do 5 minutes flashcards. When they get to 10 years old, they're gonna do 30 minutes of practice and 5 minutes of flashcards. So once they hit 10 years old, I would say up until they're 15 or something like that, unless they really love the instrument and want to practice more, 30 minutes should really be sufficient to get their practice time for their lessons, what they need. So it's not a huge commitment. And as a parent, I know you're like, oh my goodness, like that seems like a lot to add to my day. But for the return and the reward that it brings years down the road, I mean, I think your child will thank you for that investment, because it really is a sacrifice in that. So every child is going to be different. You might have one child that absolutely loves the piano, sort of like I was growing up. I would play for hours just because I enjoyed it so much. And I found so much happiness from just playing for a long period of time. I would love to create and just make new arrangements. That was kind of something that I just looked forward to every day. But then on the other hand, you might have a child that doesn't enjoy practicing, that complains half of the lesson and that whines about it and cries about it. And I think that's where you as a parent have to kind of be creative one, because you want to make their lessons fun and exciting and something that they look forward to. So do your best in that, but still there's going to be times where your child doesn't necessarily want to practice. And I think you just have to look in the future and say, you know what, I think they're gonna thank me for this later, and try it. Let's say 2 years, give it 2 years of consistent practice and commitment to that. And you're gonna be shocked at what your child can learn in 2 years. But kind of push through it. It's a lot like, you know, you make your child make their bed and do their little chores every day. It's just something that you have to do. It's responsibility. And it's gonna end up teaching them character in the long run. And I think practicing the piano is the same way. So you as a parent, push through it, you know, try to make it as fun as you possibly can. And some of your children will just be easy and enjoy it and love the piano, and other children might be a little different. But just keep up the good work, because probably 10 years down the road, they're gonna look back and say, thank you, Mom, thank you, Dad, for really making this sacrifice and helping me, you know, become the person I am today. Because over the years, looking now to see my students that I've taught over the years, you know, playing for churches, they're playing for nursing homes, and just being a huge light to other people and bringing smiles to other people's faces. That's huge, and it just makes me so proud and so happy for the parents that really are the really heroes in it, because they're the ones that help them and push them and sacrifice the time and the money and the effort for that. In the past, I say this was probably a harder question because it wasn't easy to find a piano teacher. As far as location wise, it might be harder. The drive or the distance from you might be huge. And I think I'm so grateful for my parents for sacrificing the time every week to drive me to piano lessons 30, 45 minutes, even an hour away, so I could be able to have that practice. But nowadays it is so easy, because you can find lessons actually online through FaceTime. It's unbelievable how you can actually have piano lessons and not actually have to go anywhere. So for me, I teach Carson all of his subjects in school, and so for him starting piano, I wanted it to be somebody new, a new face, somebody new, exciting. So he actually has a gentleman teach him every Tuesday, and I literally set up my phone and it can see his music and his hand positions and everything, and he has a FaceTime lesson for 30 minutes every week, and he absolutely loves it. And I am just amazed that I don't have to load up all of my children and pack all their bags and worry about packing their lunches, and it end up being like a 2-hour or 3-hour chunk of my afternoon. So I think nowadays it is very easy to find someone online, but if you are able to find a piano teacher that's easy for you, or some piano teachers even drive to your house, that's wonderful as well. I know my parents first found most of my piano teachers just through the church that we were in. So maybe the church pianist or something like that. They would ask if they would be willing to give lessons. And from that, I also moved to different teachers that were working at universities and stuff like that. But starting out to get that good foundation, just start somewhere. And if you're like me and you're a busy mom and you feel overwhelmed with your workload as of now, try to find someone online. I'll see if I can find some recommendations for that I could possibly link. But just start somewhere. You won't regret it, I promise. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and if you have different music experiences from taking lessons or actually being a piano teacher, please let me know some of your stories or thoughts below. I would love to read and hear what you guys have been through as well. God bless you all.